Alright, so in order to make the faces, what we want to do is go ahead and take our section of the dice, duplicate it around, go to Mesh, Combine, select the vertices, weld them together. This will create the solid top that we're going to need to make our dimples with. So what I'm going to do is select these little corners here so that we just have just the round, flat round section. And I'm going to do an Edit Mesh Extract. It's at the bottom of the Edit Mesh menu right there. Alright, so we don't need the frame anymore. All we need is this here. Now ideally you can take the frame and you can break it apart and make a dice, but that's neither here nor there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create another cube. I'm going to smooth it once. At the start of a quad ball. Go ahead and delete the top set of faces and then position it in the center of my top and scale it down. Now to match the sides, what we're going to need to do is add some edge loops so that we have 1/4 of half the grid size for our divots. So I'll scale it down a little bit more, grab an edge, and then do Edit Mesh, insert edge loop, go to the options, multiple edge loops, set number of edges to 1, and divide. So divide here and here, and then like this to make kind of a cross pattern. Now go back to our little divot. Scale it in so that we have a nice, we can make a nice edge loop border. Delete them. And now what we'll want to do is use the bridge tool to connect these two. So Mesh, Combine, Edge and Edge, and Bridge. But now it's giving us an error. The reason that it's giving us an error is because our divot, we never did flip the normals on it. So make sure you go to Mesh Display and Reverse so that our normals are facing the right direction. Okay, that was a quick backface culling check on it. So now when we bridge the two together, we have connected faces. So go ahead, select the edge ring and bridge them again. And this should weld everything together. Press 3 to check our geometry. Alright, so since this little divot here is going to be our template for all our other ones, so they're all alike, go ahead and do a Mesh Extract on the selected faces. And then move this out of the way. Don't duplicate it and move it out of the way. Now we've got a reserve. Now Mesh, combine these two together. And then weld the vertices. And we should have a nice completed piece. So one of the things I want to do to make sure this will combine on the on top of our dice is we want to remove those extra edge loops that we added. Just be careful how you remove them, because if you remove the inner ones here, these 4, then it will mess up your geometry. What's better to do is remove the outer ones, again with Control Delete, so it removes all of the extra vertices. And then what we can do is use a target weld to weld these corners together. Okay, that'll maintain our edge flow. At the same time, it'll fence our edges. Just go ahead and move that out of the way. duplicate it, and then we can work on the next one. There's a few minor tweaks I need to do to the single divot. But one thing, let's fix on our template here. In order to get this to center upright, what we need to do is move this pivot point so that it is as high as the rim, but still centered with that center vertex. So what I want to do is hit the D key to bring up this little thing here, click on that top, and then middle mouse drag over that vertex. And what that'll do is give us this hovering pivot point that will then snap perfectly with our caps and allow us to line these things up, because that's what we're looking for. It's this kind of shape right here. So what I need to do is combine these two pieces together. Mesh, combine, and then remove some of the more offending geometry. So right now we have several faces that need to be removed so that we can see our divot underneath it without getting rid of our shell as well. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and use the Append to Poly tool to rebuild some of these faces. In some cases you can use the bridge tool. I just used Append to Poly to do this real quick. Use multi-cut to add that edge loop right there, so I'll have something to attach the framing geometry to. So I'll have to weld that together. And then use Append to Poly on this border here. So clickety click, hit enter. I tap Y to activate the tool again. Messed up on that one. Y, click on the next edge. Y, next on the next edge, and then you just keep repeating it, and this will fill all the holes in. So just keep going around, trying to keep it as quad as I can. In cases where there's triangles, I can always go back and fix it. Some are just going to be necessary. So overall, we should have the shape that we're looking for. The only thing we don't have is we are missing, we just need to kind of work on the topology a little bit. So what I'm going to do is go around, select and delete some edges, and move some vertices around. So in this case, I'm going to target weld this out, and just keep working on kind of creating a little better flow around the model. So here's a glaring problem that I created with the original single, is I forgot to merge my vertices together after I did the mesh extract. So what I'm going to do back here now is go back and fix this. Alright, it's starting to look pretty good. Add that edge over there, delete those two. There's lots of different ways you can do this. Create a little bit different look. I'm just trying to create a better looking spider web. This is just a quick count of my number of faces. Alright, so what I'm going to do is go back here and delete half of the model, because we can always duplicate it around to create our three hole side. Center the pivot. Keep on going. And now what I can also do is, if I delete the other half here, then I can rotate this part around 4 times and create my 5. select, mesh, combine. And merge. Alright, so once we have all of our faces created, go ahead, combine and merge all the vertices for your original dice frame. So duplicate, combine, merge. I'll sped the video up a little bit just to kind of go ahead and get through this part. Same thing that we've already done, you know, a bajillion times. And what I'm going to do now is just delete all the faces that make up the flat parts, the die face. So once I've deleted these, what I can then do is go ahead and either mirror geometry on it, which might have been easier, or I can duplicate it and weld it, snap our face into the dice, and then select all, merge, select all, merge. Just make sure nothing gets merged that I don't want to have merged. And what I have now is the completed face. So what I'll end up wanting to do now is just go back and do my bevels. Okay, so the vast majority of the shape is already completed. All we have to do now, bevel the edges, assign materials, and the dice will be done. What I'm going to do is spend the last part of this video kind of going back through creating some more of the faces. I have switched to some more accelerated time, so this is going to kind of go by quick, but it'll show you the workflow for how to finish all the dice faces. So that's 1, 3, 5. For 4, I could have done this a couple of different ways, but for 4, what I ended up doing was just blanking out the middle. This one right here is going to be number 6. So I'm adding in the third one right into the middle here. Getting rid of the geometry that I don't need. Welding everything together. Use the Append poly to fill some holes. Used a bridge with an extra subdivision. Add some multi-cut in order to make sure there's clear edge loops between the 3 circles. Check that with the 3 to make sure that no circle's bleeding into another circle. Did some merge vertices to try to figure out what was going on here. And I think I finally just had to rebuild the geometry. Something wasn't connected quite right. And then what I'm going to do is go back and try to clean up some of the edges that I have, just so that it'll flow a little bit better. So duplicate both sides, merge, and when it hits, and then clean this up, straighten some edges. Take out all these triangular V's. And then redraw some loops around my divots. And this is the conclusion of the sides. Good luck.